Hi everyone, welcome to our networking webinar, and today Danielle Ross is going to be our presenter. It's nice to see several familiar names on the list, and several of you are, Eliza's brand new member down in Arizona. Hi Eliza. Anyway, we have several of our members with us today, and we had a lot of people sign up. We had well over 100 people who had registered, and I know several were not able to be on the live webinar, so they registered so they could get the replay. Brought to you by I Take the Lead. I am Becky Tangwell, and I'm one of the corporate officers. I'm actually in Portland, Oregon right now, but we are in several states. And we are a leads group organization for anybody who is on here for the first time. I also want to let you know that when you register for the webinars, you are automatically put into a MailChimp newsletter, so you can be alerted when the next webinar is set up, so that you'll know what's going on. If you want to be removed from that MailChimp newsletter, please just contact me. My email is becky@itakethelead.com, and everybody gets that when they register on Webinar Jam for these webinars. But I just would ask you that you just notify me instead of complaining or something like that. Anyway, I am excited today. Danielle Ross left Portland in January, I think it was, Danielle?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For sunny California, San Diego, and so we've not really had an opportunity to hear her. She's one of our most favorite speakers here in the Portland area, which means she goes around to the different groups and provides some great information about marketing and networking, and it helps our members become more effective and grow their businesses. Anyway, Danielle's gonna be speaking today. And how do I hear it? Joe Severs asks, how do I hear it? Michael Chase. Hi, Michael. I'm sorry, I'll respond in a minute. Anyway, Danielle's going to be speaking. The title of her presentation is Triple Your Sales Through Speaking with Authenticity and Fun. And Danielle is high energy. She is a great presenter, and she actually teaches others how to do that in their business. And I think there's no better way to become successful in networking and in your business than becoming the expert and being able to teach others about what you do. So I'm going to just go ahead and turn this over to Danielle. I will remind everybody on the sidebar, we encourage you to ask questions. We'll have a time at the end for Q&A if you have any questions. And if it's relevant to what Danielle's speaking about, I will go ahead and stop her if need be and ask her questions. So Danielle, I'll let you take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Becky. Thanks for having me, for always being so enthusiastic and being a cheerleader of what I do. I really appreciate your support. And this webinar is hosted by I Take the Lead. Just want to put a quick plug in for I Take the Lead if you're not a member yet. It's a great networking organization. It builds so much community, and within I Take the Lead, there's a circuit that can help you share your message and connect to potential clients through speaking. So that's really the perfect format to exercise some of the things I'm going to be sharing today in the presentation, Triple Your Sales Through Speaking with Authenticity and Fun. So you're in the right place if you're here for this webinar, and also you're in the right place if you're an expert who has a product or service that you'd like to sell faster and easier, and if you'd like to tap into the amazing power of speaking to really ramp up your sales. So Becky told you a little bit about me. I'm a client attraction coach. I'm on a mission to help more brilliant experts help the people they were born to serve so that they can make a bigger impact and live in a more abundant lifestyle. So today, I'm going to be sharing part of my free Talks That Sell system. So I'm going to be sharing some of the most potent nuggets from a system that has allowed me to achieve six-figure success in my service-based business. And I've been able to help my clients similarly leverage this system, and you can too. So in a moment, I'm going to tell you about some of the big things you're going to take away from today's session, and tell you even a little bit more about my own story, including San Diego, which Becky mentioned, which I want to say for my Portland people that I am coming back. But it's been, I'm not leaving forever, but it's part of my story, and where speaking can take you, sometimes it can help you travel the world. So first, before we dive into that, I want to tell you why I believe that speaking works so well to promote your business. So speaking allows you to share your message to groups of ideal clients at a time. So the power of leverage is really present as you share your message to multiple prospects through speaking. As Becky mentioned, it also allows you to position yourself as the expert while you're making that personalized connection, which is awesome. And it also allows you to really multiply the know, like, and trust factor, so that you can more easily enroll ideal clients into premium packages and programs. So we all know that and when it comes to marketing, you've got a lot of choices, and there's also quite a lot of noise. There's lots of advertisements and posts, and what's really amazing, what I believe, is the power of the personal connection can cut through that noise. There's almost nothing more powerful, and that's why I believe so wholeheartedly in the power of networking, and then also the power of speaking. In fact, if you read the promo for this presentation, you may have read that I believe that speaking is like networking times 10, because you're really making that connection even in a more leveraged way. So I also said free talks. I didn't just say speaking, but I actually believe that free speaking is one of the most powerful ways that you can grow your business, increase the number of people that you're working with, and grow your income. So let me tell you about why I believe that free speaking in particular is so powerful. So free talks are often easy to book. So there's less to work through in order to get an opportunity. And especially when you're starting out, if you really know what you're talking about and you have something that's very valuable to other people, then you're going to be appealing to people that book speakers. You also get access to an audience of people that are hungry for your knowledge without making some kind of big investment to get access to them. So in return for sharing your expertise for free, you get access. And you also get, typically, a free rein to make some kind of offer. So what is a little bit different in format between a free talk and a paid talk, although both can be great at different times for you, is that often what you give up with paid speaking is the ability to extend an offer to continue with your audience, because you're being paid for that session or that unit of time. And so there's often more, if I'm ringing in the background, this is live.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. There's often more rules or regulations, sometimes restrictions about what you can do. But when you are speaking for free, typically the person that's hosting you is very open to having you extend an offer, which could be to buy something or to connect with these prospects via a consultation. And that also can give you a huge return. So I actually want to talk about what stops people from leveraging this. I've established that it is powerful and there can be an enormous return for you for speaking and for speaking for free. But I find there's some really common sort of trip up points that stop people from leveraging this, especially experts that have a message, that have great wisdom to share. Probably that's you, because that's why you're here. And so what stops you from taking advantage of this? Or if you're out speaking, what maybe stops you from maximizing your speaking opportunities so that you actually get the return of clients and income? So let's talk about this really quick. So lack of knowledge. Maybe you don't know quite what's possible. Maybe you're discovering that right now, or you might actually not know what are some of the easy strategies you can apply to your speaking to actually make it not only something that gives you exposure, but also gets you business. Potentially blind spots. So we've probably all seen a speaker where they just weren't making that connection, and they maybe weren't aware of it, but you were in the audience. So sometimes those blind spots prevent us from really taking advantage of the opportunity, and we'll talk about how to overcome that in the content of this presentation. And also sometimes overwhelmed. So you might have a sense of some of the things that you need to do or create to leverage free talks in your business or even speaking, but just how can you apply the things that you know without getting overwhelmed? So today, I'm going to really be chunking it down for you. I'm going to be telling you not everything, because we don't have time for that, but I'm going to be telling you what I think is the 20% that can give you the 80% of result back in your business.
Oh, very nice. Wow.
Yeah. So what I find is, you know, it is a system from the content that you have, from the promo that you have, to really understanding how you're going to use the talk. Now, today, we're going to focus in on the content piece, because I find that that trips people up the most. And I'm going to be sharing some really potent nuggets when it comes to content, so that you can have even better results and actually even have more fun in what you're sharing. Because I think when you get better results, it's because you're making a deeper connection and enjoying yourself more too. So today we're going to talk about how can you magnetize your message so that when you speak, your ideal clients are irresistibly drawn to what you have to say. Why it's so important to dive deep in order to transform your audience. And if you don't do this, you could accidentally be frustrating or overwhelming them. So I'll tell you how. And also why it's so important to leverage what I call the dynamic duo, so you know exactly how to get clients as a result of your speaking. And one of the last things I'm going to share before we open up for a final Q&A at the end is what I call an advanced speaking strategy. That this strategy alone allowed me to get a return on a speaking gig of almost $10,000. And not from the gig itself, because we're talking about free talks, but on the return of new client revenue. And this advanced strategy is something that you might not expect. I don't think people hear about this strategy a lot. In fact, it might feel a little bit counterintuitive, but man, when you learn this step, it's going to totally transform the way you speak and also how you create the talks that you present. So with that, I want to tell you a little bit about me. I told you I would share a bit about my story before I dive into info. And so on the left is a picture of San Diego. This is actually Mission Beach area, for those that know San Diego. That's actually where I am right now. And Becky mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that she phrased it, left Portland. But I left Portland and I'm in San Diego. And again, for those in Portland, I have a pretty big community in Portland. I am coming back. But growing my service-based business, my marketing business, where I coach brilliant entrepreneurs, has allowed me to travel and work while traveling. And so my boyfriend and I were both entrepreneurs. We set out this January on a 10-week-long, what we call a workcation, where we could work from sunny San Diego. And if you're not from Portland, you might know that it rains a lot and it can get really cloudy. So January is really the ideal time to take a hiatus if that's appealing to you. So this is actually a walk in Mission Beach that I've strolled along many times in the last couple months. And it's really, I feel so privileged, so blessed to be able to do work that I love and also really create a lifestyle that I love at the same time. And I love to support other people in doing that as well. So on the right, you see a picture of me speaking. This is actually an event that I was speaking at in January on a pretty big stage, a great event. And I've had the privilege of speaking not only in the Portland area, but also nationwide on many stages, including San Diego. And this has been the cornerstone of what's really allowed me to achieve the success in my business that I now enjoy. In fact, if I was to look back, it's mind-boggling to me that even just 5 years ago, I could be struggling to figure out how to put the pieces of my business together, struggling to figure out how to enjoy the work, be profitable, have the lifestyle I wanted, and that in a short amount of time, all those things have fallen into place. And a couple of cornerstones of my success, the first big cornerstone was networking. And if you're a repeat, I take the lead webinar participant, you may have caught a webinar that I did last year that was all about networking. So networking was really responsible for me to get my business up to a place where I could leave my day job and start to really put full-time energy into my coaching business. And so if networking did that for me, it was really speaking that allowed me to get up to the six-figure mark. If I was to really isolate the particular strategy that helped things pop. And here's what makes me most excited about that in my journey and in the way it can help you. I want to share with you what I used to think self-promotion was and why I never thought I would ever be an entrepreneur. I used to think that speaking was cold calling. I used to think that, or not speaking, I used to think that self-promotion was cold calling. I used to think that self-promotion was putting myself in uncomfortable situations that didn't feel authentic to me, and that there might not really be a way for me to enjoy entrepreneurism or entrepreneurship without doing something that made me feel really uncomfortable. And so if you were to talk to me 10 years ago, I would never believe that I was actually teaching others and coaching others about how to authentically promote themselves. Like, how could I be coaching on marketing? I used to hate marketing. But the truth is, self-promotion doesn't have to be uncomfortable. And there are powerful ways that you can do it authentically. And I found for my audience, who are really mission-driven sole professionals who are experts, that speaking is one of the best strategies because you have a lot of knowledge, you want to share, you like people, and so you don't need to cold call or do whatever it is that is your Achilles heel around self-promotion. You can speak and you can find other ways to promote yourself that are natural and authentic. So it was really shifting from this old mindset to asking myself, you know, what if self-promotion could be as fun as the work itself that really allowed me to crystallize what I wanted to do with my business and how I wanted to help others. So the name of my business is actually Brand You Business, and I think that it's all about you, from the way that you showcase yourself as that face of your brand, to the way that you powerfully serve your clients with your work, and even finding ways to authentically grow your business in a way that energizes you. Because let's face it, you know, if you've been working on client attraction for any length of time, that it is a regular practice. If you're in business for yourself, that's not something that you can just do once or every so often to sustain. It's something that needs to be incorporated and sustained over the long term. So what if you loved it? What if you really loved it? And I have a feeling that because you're here, that you have a sensibility towards speaking and that you really could love it. And I believe that not only can you love it, but you can also effectively leverage it. So it's not just about loving it, but loving it and using it as a powerful promotional tool. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How powerful is it? This is these are a few of the results that I've been able to achieve through the system that I'm going to share with you in part. So one of my clients using this system booked 25 consultations as a result of a 5-minute presentation. Recently, one of my clients used my strategies to help him in booking a TED Talk in Zurich. And for those of you in sort of speaker networks, you know that this is a organization that they're in many different cities, but they're very selective about who they choose to come speak. So it's sort of a prestigious speaker opportunity to get booked there. And the first client I talked this system to was able to triple their income in just 6 months.
Wow.
Very powerful. So what I want to say before I really start to get into the nuts and bolts about how to leverage this, learning from my last webinar, is that you can download all of these slides by going to brandyoubusiness.com/ITTL. So just know, if you like taking notes and you learn that way, go ahead, pick up your pen, grab your favorite notebook, and get writing. But if that stresses you out, you can access these slides anytime, and you don't have to write down every little thing. Just go to that URL, and then you know that you'll be able to access these slides after the program. And that can maybe free you up a little bit so you don't feel like you have to write down everything. So let's talk about what is this big picture system, and then I want to dive into some real specifics to help you craft very compelling content every time you go to speak that really positions you to make more sales in your business. So this is a full system. So there's 3 big parts to this that I want to outline. First, you need to have a big picture plan. You need to really have a sense of those big questions about really what are you trying to promote with your talk. You know, there's a powerful idea about starting with the end in mind. Part of your big picture plan is going to be to ask yourself, what specifically are you going to be promoting with your talk? And each time you create a new talk, you need to have a new big picture plan. The second thing you need, obviously, is the content of your talk. This is the crux of all of your success, and that's part of why we're going to really dive in deep to the content side today. And you also need to have a process to promote your talk. So if you are either bringing people to you or you're going to get booked, you need to have a process to do that, to have the booker say, yeah, I'm excited about having you, and also to draw people in to see your presentation. So again, we're going to dive deep on the content side, and within that, we're going to discuss those 3 areas that I outlined at the beginning, from magnetizing your message, why it's so important to dive deep, and also why you want to leverage the dynamic duo, because people that don't leverage this are the ones that say, people loved my talk, but no one is buying. So if that's you, that's because there's one side of the duo that's missing. So I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about there. So let's dive into the first one. How do you magnetize your message? First, you really need to know who is your audience. And not just who are they, like who are they in your business as a whole, but every time you present, you need to ask yourself that question again. Who is the specific audience that I need to be connecting with that will also connect to whatever it is that ultimately you're going to be hopefully enrolling them into? So who is the specific audience? And what is their biggest problem or desire when it comes to what you're sharing? So you might notice that a couple of these foundational questions are sort of similar to what a marketing or business coach might ask you about your business as a whole. Now you need to ask this for your talk specifically. So to give you an example based on you coming here today to listen to this talk, a big problem that I address in my business is, how do I get clients? But for this talk specifically, I wanted to make sure that everything I share in this talk and in the promotion was about really diving into, how do I get clients as a result of speaking? So I want to really make sure that I'm focusing totally to talking to that person. And then again, what is on the flip side of the problem? What is possible for this audience member if they solve the problem? You need to know, because this is an important element that you can include in your talk. And I'll go into that a little bit more in a second. The last key component of magnetizing your message is speaking the audience language. I can't stress this enough, because this can be a real challenge when we are experts and we know our training talk, and we've often got a lot of studies and conferences and different kinds of professional seminars under our belt. And the way that we were taught what we do isn't necessarily the way that we need to explain it so that it resonates with an audience. So I want to go back through a couple of these pieces. One of them, the second bullet point, I think is one of the biggest missed opportunities when experts are creating their talk content, is including the problem and desire in their material. So I imagine that as you're listening to this, that as an expert, you have a lot of information that you could share to help people, a ton. And so part of what you're going to learn from the content today is to really impact people. Sometimes you have to reel a little bit of that information in. And if you can actually take a moment in your talk to discuss the problems and desire of your audience, they feel connected to you. In fact, Eben Pagan, who's a big kind of marketing guru, internet marketing entrepreneur, he says, if you understand your potential client's problem, if you really nail the problem, not only will they feel like you're in their head, but they will feel a connection with you that could last a lifetime. They'll really feel seen. So what I want to dare you to do is, before you start going into content and info, is to actually really acknowledge the problem and why they are there. You have no idea how potent this one step can be if you haven't tried it yet. So powerful. And it basically allows the audience member to be in a better position to absorb the content when you get there, because they feel like you totally understand them. So that's a big reason why you want to understand the biggest problem or desire of your audience member, so that you can include that in the content, and also really warm up your audience to be able to receive the potent nuggets of information that you have to share. You also really want to speak their language. And so I'll give you an example. This guy's supposed to be pretentious. And none of us try to be pretentious. That's never the objective. But again, sometimes because we know so much as experts, we accidentally start to use technical language that, instead of connecting us with our audience, can really provide a barrier between us and our audience. It can actually create distance. So as you create content for your talk that's really designed to promote you and your business, I want you to think about getting on the client's level, to really share information in the way that the client speaks, rather than being on a pedestal or using too much what I would call technical jargon. So sometimes this is a little bit of an unworking of a muscle. If you haven't practiced this before, this is a really powerful thing to focus on so that you can get to the next level, not only in your speaking, but in your business as a whole and all of your marketing. How can you speak their language? And if you don't know how your clients speak, then you need to start getting into conversation with them and really listening. How do they describe their problems? How do they think of this path toward their desired destination? Because through your service, you're just a bridge. Your product or service is a bridge toward a result. How do your clients speak about that? Put more of that into your talks, and wow, they will pop. So that's a little bit on magnetize your message. Who's your audience? What is their biggest problem or desire? Actually include the problem and the desire in the material. Even if it's a short talk, just a little bit can go a long way. And make sure you're using the audience's language. So let's go on to the second one. Dive deep. Diving deep is so important in all of your speaking, especially your promotional talks. So it's really about staying focused, laser focused. And I believe this isn't not only something that can help you leverage your speaking, but it's also in greater service for you to laser focus on 1, 2, or 3 things, rather than sharing 20 bits of information that could really overwhelm your audience. So you want to avoid overwhelm, you want to avoid boredom. And my bit of wisdom to you is less is more. Less is more. Your talk, actually, when it's really targeted, it's gonna seem maybe be strangely simple for you to deliver because you know so much, but your audience now can really absorb what you have to say. And so again, instead of sharing a whole lot of things, think about in this time frame that you have, whether that's 15 minutes or 45 minutes, what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that you could share that could be hugely beneficial or transformational to your audience? And how can you construct the talk to really help them absorb those simple things? Again, rather than, I think we can get into an old mindset that more is better. And we know so much as experts that we kind of want to share all of these files of information that we have because you have so much knowledge. But the truth is, all of that knowledge can really overwhelm your audience. And so then you're not making the impact that you want to make, and they're also really not getting the value that you came to give. So really focus on how you can deliver fewer things. And again, you can use that primer of discussing the problem and the desired results. You could use your slides if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation. You can use the way that you are referencing some stories and anecdotes to allow them to absorb those simple things even more deeply, rather than the fire hose of 20 things. And so again, it can sometimes help us to make the connection when we've been on that side of overwhelm and then realize, oh, maybe there's a time or two that I've done this by mistake. So if you've ever been an audience member where you felt overwhelmed, or maybe your eyes just started to glaze over, or you just felt yourself sort of checking out, you're starting to think of your to-do list and other things going on, one of the major culprits of that response is too much information. So you can avoid doing that to others by really exercising the less is more principle and diving deep. So this third step is actually my favorite because I've heard some of these first 2 steps delivered to me in different ways, but less speakers speaking on this third step, and it's so, so important. So I'm going to talk about how to leverage the dynamic duo. And I mentioned at the top that this is something that if you're just starting out, wow, it's so great to know before you start booking a lot of speaking gigs, the importance of putting these 2 things into every presentation that's designed to promote you. But if you have been speaking and people have been loving your presentations, but you really haven't been getting the sales, and that might be confusing for you to have the professional kudos, but not actually the professional traction, it's probably because you're not leveraging the dynamic duo. You need to have these 2 things together, and I'll tell you exactly what they are. So you need to have value, and you need to give crazy value to your audience. They should never feel like you're holding back valuable information, or like it's not a benefit to your audience to have taken the time out to listen to you. So even though your audience members in a free talk setting probably haven't put down any money to be there, or maybe they've put down a nominal amount of money, their time is valuable. And so no matter what, you need to be giving valuable content that really is relevant to them. So exactly how you frame your talk in the promotion should line up with what you're sharing, and it should be something that they really want to know about. But it's possible to give a lot of value and not actually get new clients from your talk. And that's because you need the other half of the dynamic duo, which is positioning. So I just talked to you about jargon, so I want to make sure that I tell you exactly what positioning means. But it's an important word for you to learn because it's going to transform your ability to really maximize your marketing and your free talks. So you need to not only have value, but positioning. And so value asks, how can I transform? What can I share? Again, what can I share in this format, in this number of minutes, the 20% that could give the 80% value? What could I put in? And make it a choice about 1, 2, or 3 things. Positioning asks, why should my audience take next steps to work with me? And so what I find is some of my clients start working with me, they're out doing a lot of speaking, and people love them, and they feel good when they talk, and they have a audience that really respects them. But in terms of actually translating that investment of time doing talks into business, there's a disconnect, and that's because you need to make sure little noise in the background. You need to make sure that your audience can answer the question, why should I take next steps? And if you're not addressing that in your content, then they won't take any next steps. So here's a way to think about it. And here's the dynamic duo for you while I tell the story. A way to think about it is, what can you do in the time frame that you have? Again, going back to that maximum value. What's the maximum value you can do in that format? And what can't you do? So let's say you're a coach and you have 15 minutes to share on your particular area of expertise. Let's say you're a relationship coach. And so you're going to share information, maybe 3 steps to having a soulful, connected relationship with your husband, no matter how long you've been married. So you're going to explain those 3 things. Now, if you don't make it clear of what your audience could get beyond the 15 minutes that you share that info, they won't know what step to take. So I have a feeling that if that were you, there would be things you could do in 15 minutes, and there could be things you couldn't do in 15 minutes. For instance, you could give the steps, but you might not be able to support audience members individually in implementing those steps. That might be a reason why they might take a step forward and schedule a consultation or attend your workshop. Again, you can maybe help them get some key insights, but if they want to really maybe see some of the hidden obstacles that are standing in their way that they might not even know about, they might want to schedule a coaching session with you. So each environment has lots of value, but your audience needs to understand what's the value that they can get in the format in which you're talking, and then what's beyond that. What are results that they'll need to take more action or take more steps to get? So that's leveraging the dynamic duo. One of I think, the biggest blind spots for people that are out speaking but not sure what is the disconnect between actually getting results for business. So I want to tell you real quick about an upcoming training that I have called Free Talks That Sell, where we could go even deeper with some of these steps that I've shared, and that would allow you to get your question answered as you create your signature talk. And then at the outset of that, I'm going to share with you the advanced speaking strategy that I mentioned up top that allowed me to get a return of nearly $10,000 of new client revenue. It's something you really might not expect. And then we'll open it up to questions and answers, which I love. So any question that's on your mind that you really want to ask to me while we're all here live today, I really welcome you to bring those things up. So I want to tell you a little bit about the structure of my upcoming training. So if this is resonating with you and you want to get more support, there's a way for you to keep going. So this is a 21-day virtual boot camp, so you can take this course from wherever you are. In this boot camp, you'll take away your speaking profit plan. That basically will help you get your biggest questions answered so that you can actually see the blueprint that will allow you to get the client revenue back as a result of your speaking. You'll also have an outline of your signature talk so that you'll be able to use a proven structure that I've used many times and taught other clients to use to actually put your own expertise into this format and create your signature talk, or even refine your talk if you've already got one that you've been doing but you feel like it could be more effective. And you'll also learn proven promo strategies to bring your audiences to you and also get your talks booked. So if you've been looking around seeing that your audience sometimes congregates at different events that you want to speak at, I can show you the way, and it's very simple, but I can show you a structure that can help you take those opportunities more often and more easily. So each week of this program includes a 90-minute virtual training that's on each of those segments that I've discussed, and also during part of each week, there's going to be a dedicated 90-minute Q&A session that's dedicated to the topic that we're on. So you can ask all the questions that you have and make sure you have everything that you need to apply what you're learning to your unique business. And then if you can't make the particular dates that are going to be happening in April, then you can also take advantage of the fact that there'll be recordings of each session. So be there as you can, but know that this virtual training can also double as a home study program, and you can take it at your own pace. You can also submit your questions if you can't be there live, and I'll still get them answered for you. This program, I'm so excited to be teaching it, is just $297. It's a basically launch rate, as this is the first time that I'm taking all of this content and information and support and putting it into a leveraged group setting. So before, only my one-on-one clients or small group clients really got access to this information, but now I really want to take it to the masses because this is powerful and it can really transform the way that you promote yourself. But not just that, I really want to give you a special sweet deal to take action if this is resonating with you. So actually, if you register by midnight tonight, it'll be just $97.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, in just a moment, I'm going to tell you how I used one of the strategies that I teach in this complete program to really get an enormous return on a speaking event. And so if you just think about how one successful speaking event can bring back thousands of dollars of new client revenue, $97 is a pretty good deal. So definitely, I love to encourage people to take action when something's speaking to them and they're really excited about it. And I also really love to give special deals when I do speak. And really, it says I take the lead members. So I want to just clarify that. My tech person was really excited to put this together for me, that if you haven't joined I Take the Lead yet, we're going to call you a member for now, in that I'm still going to give you the $97 deal because you're on this webinar and you've participated. However, I highly encourage you to become an I Take the Lead member for real, if that's something you're thinking about, because the community, the support, the networking is really the best that there is. And I really, really just admire and have so personally benefited from the community that Becky creates through I Take the Lead. So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. I want to share with you that advanced tip because I bet you're pretty curious about it. So the advanced tip that you might not expect is that when you have the promotional strategy down that I teach in this course, you can actually book your gig and then you can build the content. So this is a little bit of the reverse of what we were taught in school, and then maybe as creative people that we had to sort of have everything figured out in order to present it to an audience. And I really want to challenge you on that and actually tell you that as you start to move toward free talks that sell mastery, you can actually take advantage of opportunities before you fully created the content of your talk by actually crafting the promo and then building your talk around the promo. And if you want an example of promo and some of the things that I often teach to help clients get a really great return on their events, you can actually go back and check out the promo for this event today. Over 100 people signed up. Also, if you notice that you're feeling really compelled to attend an event or another webinar, take a look at what they're doing. I want you to stop, I want you to pause, and I want you to actually shift out of the participant view, and I want you to go into the strategist view. And I want you to actually ask yourself, what are they doing? What was the title of this talk that was so compelling to me? How did they craft their promo? So I have a particular really simple way that I like to teach experts and service-based entrepreneurs to craft their promo. It's very step-by-step. It's very easy to learn. And when you really flex this muscle enough, you'll find that creating promo for your events or your talks is very easy, that you could create it very quickly. And not just that, if an opportunity popped up, you could craft a promo around the theme of the talk that really showcases yourself, get that gig booked, and then build it. Not only do I love this advanced tip because it can allow you to take an opportunity that maybe you would have passed on before because you felt like you weren't ready, but I actually think that some of the best, most creative and potent material comes when we have a container. So there's a distinct timeline. If you book that gig, you know when the presentation is. You also know that there's going to be an audience there waiting for you, and that can be very motivating. Really creating some positive tension for you to create your best stuff and then get it up without getting into a challenge, or maybe a right-brained entrepreneur challenge that can often happen where we start to overthink what we're creating and get stuck in our heads. So getting stuck in your head and overthinking is really the enemy for you in your speaking and also in your marketing. You want to get inspiration, structure, and get that promo up and running so that you can start to be connected to your clients and get their return without unnecessary struggle. So this tip, book it, then build it, can really help you do that. So in addition to that, leveraging the 3 techniques that we talked about today for your content can really transform the power of your talk. So we talked about magnetizing your message, so really understanding your audience, their burning problems and desires, really speaking their language, diving in deep, less is more, and leveraging the dynamic duo so that you're always thinking about how to both give value, but also position yourself and your services. That can help you do what I've done and what others I've supported have done, to use your talks as a promotional tool so you can grow your business authentically while helping others. And it's a beautiful thing. So I want to say thank you for being to this presentation. I want to reiterate that you can get the slides for this presentation on brandyoubusiness.com/ITTL. If you're interested in getting support to go through all these steps with my signature system, including creating an outline of your free talks that sell a signature talk, then I invite you to go to freetalksthatsell.com/ITTL. You'll get the special $97 promo price through midnight tonight. And now I think we're going to open it for questions.
So I started to ask you the question, and I realized I had my mic muted. My kitty, one of our office kitties, keeps meowing. They're part Siamese, so they get very vocal. Anyway,
I heard a pregnant pause, so I wasn't sure what was going on. But I'm glad that you figured that out because I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. Well, Cindy had a great question. Cindy asks, she said, does your method apply to any topic? She gives retirement seminars. And and she needs some help, she feels, with that. So would that apply? Would your system apply to that?
Absolutely. And the truth is that you could use this for a service-based or a product-based business. My favorite people to work with, who I work with every day, day in, day out, are service-based professionals. So that example would really apply. There's a way that you can find some teachable points of what you do to showcase your expertise, and again, make that simultaneously enrolling toward what you're wanting to promote. So I think that that could totally work. And the truth is, even with a product, so I know there's a lot of great direct sales professionals that are in I Take the Lead network. So even for a product like doTERRA, for instance, so essential oils, you could do a presentation about a particular type of healing. So let's say you wanted to talk about how to avoid catching the common cold and keeping it, and you do your talk in October when everybody's getting sick. By sharing that information and how there's natural remedies, then you could simultaneously position yourself to say, hey, if you want to take a next step, I have these resources through these essential oils. So it really is a system that, again, there's really no barrier for the type of service that you provide. And even if you happen to have a product, as long as you would be excited to talk to audiences about your message and your area of expertise, it can be a great way for you to grow your business and make more sales.
Well, good. Well, so that brings it back. So like realtors could even perhaps put on first-time home buyer seminars or whatever and use your system. Right.
Yeah, that's a great example, Becky. And actually, I love that example because it's very specific. And so part of what's going to make your free talk really work for you is to find ways to narrow in. And that's part of what we'll talk about in the program as well for those that continue to have questions. But I love that if it's about first-time buyers and you can use that event to be a hub for people that are looking for solutions as first-time buyers, if you connected to somebody that was speaking on that and they really made an impression on you, would you want to hire them? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, exactly. Cindy, I assume, I think Danielle did a great job answering that question. If you need further, well, you can contact Danielle if you need further information. Are there any other questions out there? That was the big one, was can it help anybody? Because I know when we were down in Arizona, that's what I was sharing. Whatever business you're in, it seemed to me that they would get a lot of great tools and tips from you on speaking. So, because I know you've taught, you work with a number of professionals, and I know that you work with getting them up and running and being able to speak about their business. So anyway.
Absolutely. Well, and I would add to that. I mean, the only extra add I would say for who it works for, doesn't work for. I mean, it's such a powerful business growth technique that as long as you have a product or service that really fulfills a deep need with an audience, it'll work for you. Now, if you're, I don't know if you guys ever watched Shark Tank or things where people are coming up with new inventions or ideas or new types of services that may or may not have a market yet. If that's you, if you're in a proof of concept phase, then this might not be the best thing for you. But if you're talking about, coaches, consultants, trainers, photographers, financial advisors, accountants, we all know there's proof in the world that people are willing to pay for these services. And if that proof is there, then you can absolutely use free talks to grow your business.
Wow, very good. Michael says, very good job, Danielle, thought-provoking. I think that's Michael Chase who said that. I'm not sure if that's the Michael, but so yeah. Oh, it was fabulous, of course. So
does anyone else have more questions? I love the Q&A portions. I'd be happy to answer more.
They haven't put any questions, so I'm assuming they, can you get, okay. Beverly says, can you give an example to leverage the dynamic duo for the financial industry?
Okay.
Of how to leverage the dynamic duo.
Well, what part of the financial industry?
Let's say it's financial services, financial advising, like Greg Baker does.
Yeah. Okay. So I can answer that on a big picture. So your questions that you want to ask yourself for the talk and really leveraging it as a business growth tool are, first, again, what could you share? Let's just say it's a 15-minute talk. What could you share in 15 minutes that would be really powerful information for people? What could you share if you shared 1, 2, or 3 things? Now, what can't you share in that time frame? And also, I think a big question that you could answer to really maximize the return that you get is, what's the difference of do it myself? So what's the difference between me reading books, attending your 15-minute talk, maybe watching some movies that educate me, versus actually having a person take me by the hand and support me on my finances? What's the difference? I would have to choose to take advantage of the benefits as your potential client of getting support, but I think you have a real opportunity to give the maximum value that you can if they were to just take the information and do it themselves. Now, what pieces can't they do themselves? So if you really educate them on both sides of the coin, then if there are compelling reasons for me to get support, and I'm sure that there are blind spots that we all have, that we can't see for ourselves around our own finances without getting help, then it's going to be really compelling for me to take that next step. So you've got to accomplish both things.
Okay, okay, very good. Sylvester asks, are you nervous when you speak? And if so, how do you overcome it?
I love that
I was
question.
wondering this too. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, I have sort of a two-part answer, because I have been in front of audiences for a long time, not always as a speaker. I have a background as an actress, and even in the early days, I was compelled to get in front of audiences, but I was nervous. And so I remember my leg shaking, my knee kind of twitching, and being like, stop it, stop it. And that it took some time for some of that to mellow out. But what I learned in taking some classes in my youth was that everybody was nervous. Everybody had some level of fear or adrenaline that came up before they started speaking. And so it's really just about how you think about it. So I feel excited. You know, what's the difference between nervousness and excitement? It's sort of a fine line. I feel excited every time I'm about to speak, and those heightened feelings don't necessarily go away. But I do have a personal belief that the stronger your content is, the stronger that it is really structured to make you successful, to make you look good and sound good and connect with your audience, that it's easier to relax and kind of like harder to mess it up because the structure is so strong. So you might think of maybe an actor that you've seen that maybe you didn't think that they were great. I know that Mariah Carey, not known to be a great actress, was in the movie Precious, and she was great in it. So what allowed her to be great probably was the script and the direction. So while the way that I approach this with entrepreneurs that I work with, I don't do a ton of work around nervousness, around panic or stage fright. I really focus on you having content that feels good and that supports you. And then you can just focus on sharing your message. And that strong focus will help you overcome any kind of debilitating anxiety, because it's really just becomes excitement, and then you share.
Oh, I think that helps a lot. Sylvester will let us know. Just so you know, also Beverly said thank you. That really helped when you answered the question about financial services, giving the example to leverage the dynamic duo in the financial services industry.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good, I'm glad.
Yeah. Oh, I've got. Oh, sorry. There's no way.
That's okay.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh. Yeah. Let me.
So this is all just to show everybody that we're really live, that this wasn't canned, and that it's really live. Real phone ring. Are you still there, Becky?
Thank you. Danielle, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, that was funny. I was laughing when you said that. Yeah, that's for sure.
The show must go on. And that's the thing, too. I love to take little things that happen and use them as teaching moments. But as you get out there speaking, you'll learn to just improv with what happens. And that when you do, it's likable. You know, people appreciate it. Because that's the excitement of the live format, is that anything can happen.
Oh, I know exactly. Yeah, it's funny because I'm in the office, and of course our fax rings, our phone, and our office kitties come in. But so anyway, and Cindy or Eliza, who's down in Arizona, she works for a nonprofit, and they help women like in shelters, women and children in shelters. She said, how would you apply it to a nonprofit without a product. Well, basically they're soliciting donations. But I think there's a lot of amazing ways you could do that, don't you? Don't you?
Absolutely. Like if you had an
Yeah.
event that was designed to draw potential fundraisers and you used the presentation as a core part of your event, and the presentation allows you to go deeper into talking about the work you do, the power of that work. And it's just like a service-based business or a for-profit business, you still need to enroll. You're just enrolling people that can help support you as fundraisers. And so I think doing a targeted free talk as a way to spread your message and create an impact could be a great way for you to grow and increase your donations.
Oh, I agree totally. I totally see that one. I think that's a given. And oh, Sylvester, you answered his question about being nervous, and he said, yeah, he likes it. He liked your answer.
Thanks. I mean,
Yeah.
first, just know you're normal. I like to say, if you're not nervous, you're dead. And who wants to have a boring life, right? You want to feel feelings. So that's good. It means you care.
Right. Yeah, and that makes total sense. I remember when I started working at the Chamber of Commerce, one of the local chambers of commerce years ago, and I found out that my job description was to stand up in front of 100+ people every Friday morning and speak. And I had a hard time speaking in front of 5 people at a time. And someone said, make everybody your friend. And so I did. I did that. Now I only speak to my friends.
Exactly.
So anyway, and then Cindy had one more question. Can we add to our talk something else that would provide what you are recommending? I'm not sure what she.
Yeah, I think it would be easier if she clarified a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Eliza says, thanks, Danielle. And then we are over time, and I want to be conscientious of your time. Danielle, I'm going to recommend that Cindy contact you personally, and she can reach you at brandyoubusiness.com, right? If she just
there's a contact form, or you can email me directly, Danielle, DANIELLE at brandyoubusiness.com. So whichever way you prefer, it'll get to me.
Oh, very good, very good. And your Facebook page is Brand You Business. So
Brand You Biz / Brand You Biz. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my Twitter. Brand You Business. That's right.
Right. Okay. Facebook page, and then yeah, your Twitter is Brand You Biz, and because we've tweeted to each other. So I want to thank you. Yeah, I know. I want to thank you so much. The information was fabulous, and I know I took a lot of notes, and I look forward to hearing more about your classes that you'll be starting. I think I'll be part of the list on the class. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your sunny, beautiful day down there in San Diego. I'm so glad. It's so nice hearing your voice, and I can't wait till
you too
next week to see you again. So thank you, Danielle, and thank you everybody who's been on the webinar today.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you. Bye-bye.